Well, we can pull the minutes, but every time
I would appreciate it.
yeah, every time LTAC cuts it back because we have insufficient funding.
It's okay, but I'm just a little surprised to see the circle on the drawing tonight, that's all.
Well, and there are still options here that we can address with LTAC regarding supplementing the funding to allow us to extend the job back to the original extents. That is
when
a
people ask
possibility.
me about that, I talk about from 6 to the bridge.
Sure.
And if I've been misleading people, then I need to find out where I slept through that conversation.
Okay, so
You know what, this might be a good time to bring it up, being Walter brought up the roundabout that doesn't look like it's going to be coming in any distant future. That 6th Street Mountain View is problematic for the speed on it. Maybe we need to consider putting 4-way stop signs in there. They're cheap, because we're not going to have a roundabout, we know that. And it looks to me like, at best, 2020. And there's a lot of concern about the traffic flow on there and the problem, and it is problematic. So that's something that's another discussion, but that's something we're going to be bringing up, or need to bring up, and we need to bring it up not a few years from now, but in the next few months.
Yeah, if I may, just don't want to turn this into a try and fix Mountain View in the interim, but
Well, the problem is it's not going to get fixed, Gary, that's why.
but I mean, there are things that can be done. The 4-way stop on White, the 4-way stop the council directed
Sixth.
went on D, really helped out. So it may be that we need to look at something on 6, and certainly we'll do that.
yeah, we can do a traffic study on that, similar to what we've done on the White Avenue intersection most recently, and see what it tells us.
Sure.
And see if it would be beneficial. Okay, these numbers are in your packet, but I just want to run through them quickly, just to help set the stage again a little bit on where we currently stand in terms of the financing. So the Mountain View project, again, originally was 6th Street down to the fairgrounds. It currently stands at 6th Street to Joseph Street intersection. It's currently in the 2019 program year for construction with LTAC. The projected remaining costs, so what's left after what we've expended to get this far to where we are today, is just a little under $2.4 million. The grant funding and local match that's previously been identified in the process is about $100,000 lower than that. So roughly a funding shortfall of $100,000, not insurmountable, but there. We do have some local match put aside already, and at roughly $81,000 as it stands in the 16 budget. Ultimately, when we reach the construction year, we'll need a total of about $175,000 to match that roughly $2.4 million total cost. And Walter.
Mr. Mayor, a question.
Yes, go ahead, Walter.
Years ago, when the bond election failed to redo all of Mountain View, the city set up a program to put aside some amount per year toward improving Mountain View. Was that 50,000, Gary?
It varied, but yeah, it was, when Mayor Comstock was mayor, he indicated that that was a project he was very in favor of. Council put between, some years we had 50,000, some years we had 150,000.
So have we done that every year since that time? And second question, what's in the kitty? I mean, I don't
Actually,
think those numbers are up there.
I can answer that.
Okay, let us know.
We have attempted to put some away every year. As Gary indicates, it varies. Some years it's been, as little as 50,000 or less, a little less. Other years, 100,000, really depending on other projects that are in the queue and grant funding. We're trying to match those types of things. We've had a little harder time with that the last few years, just the way the budgets have been. There are 2 line items for Mountain View in the current 16 budget. One is for this project, so we have the $81,000 set aside for local match for this grant in that line item. In the other Mountain View line item, which is shown as being money for the White Avenue to State Highway 8 project, there's a bit over $200,000.
Well, just to shortcut the conversation, and you know what I'm fixing to ask you,
Well,
there's your $100,000.
yeah, but there's more to it than that. Yes.
Okay,
Okay. Like I
tell
said,
me.
that $100,000, that's not insurmountable, and that's part of the reason why, is because that money was there and could come to that. The White Avenue, or excuse me, the A Street is the more problematic piece. So why don't you let me go on through, and then we can talk about how we deal with both.
I will let you finish, I guarantee you. But A Street has got a shortfall of $2 million, and we've got 200 grand sitting in the cash box, and we need 100 grand to do 6 to Joseph. Go ahead and finish. I'm having trouble following.
All right. So the second project, and the one that's more problematic, is A Street. Now, as I mentioned, this is a project that's been on the books with LTAC and ITD for a long time. They would like to see it done. The location, as I mentioned, Peterson Drive to Home Street, plus the stretch of line from State Highway 8 up to A, and the terminus of Circle Drive. Currently, for construction, it's in the 2020 program year. Projected remaining cost, and based on our most recent estimate and what LTAC is using, is this $3.2 million. I will tell you that that does include some of the utility costs. It's a total project. Okay? The remaining grant and local match funding that's been identified and available through the granting agency is right there at about $1.2 million, shortfall of about $2 million. This has been a situation that we have been calling out to LTAC since about probably 2005, I think was my first email. They have yet to resolve it on their end because, frankly, the program is short of money. And that's part of the reason that projects keep getting pushed back, is there just are not funds available. Project costs for those that are in the system have been rising. We've all seen that. And so the result is they just have not been able to come up with funding to make us whole on this one to get us up to that $3.2 million total price tag. The local match in our current 16 budget is the $235,000. That is what is required for the $3.2 million project. So we've got that covered at this point. Now, the challenges lie in timing and which projects we advance. So this is a table that actually replicates one that was given to us by LTAC for the Mountain View project. In the design phase, there's been about $306,000 that has been allocated through the program with local match for, when I say prior years, so it was allocated perhaps in 2013. It's available until it's expended, and so that's what's there for the design components. We're in the early stages of design. The next piece that's in the program is scheduled for 2016. That's $63,000 for right-of-way acquisition, because there will be some of that. And then in the 2019 year of the program, a bit over $2 million on the construction component. Again, with $100,000 roughly, we can make the Mountain View project whole, and yes, there is a way to do that fairly readily and get Mountain View constructed in 2019. That's fine. That's one of the options. The A Street piece is the more challenging. Again, money that was allocated and expended to a certain extent in prior years are shown in the first column for both design and right-of-way. Design is complete. Right-of-way acquisition is complete. So those are done. All that's left is the 2020 program year construction of that roughly $1.2 million, which is substantially short of what we need to actually build the job. You have a question?
The design number there, does that cover just what's in the circle or down all the way on A Street?
Just what's in the circle.
Okay.
Okay. So the issue really comes to this.